Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! Yes, guys, we are in the final Mad Max review leading up to Furiosa, the Mad Max saga. Back in 2020, I've covered the first Mad Max movie, and I completed the trilogy recently with the Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome, so I completed the original Mad Max trilogy. Now we are here, the re-review that you've been waiting for. Man, I'm excited to talk about this movie again. Mad Max Fury Road is directed by George Miller and stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, and Nicholas Hoult.
In this wasteland, I am the one who runs from both the living and the dead. A man reduced to a single instinct. Survive.
Now you're wondering why am I re-reviewing this movie? Of course, for Furiosa coming out, and also, Mad Max Fury Road is a very important movie for my channel because this is a fact. Mad Max Fury Road was actually my very first movie review I uploaded on this channel. Here, I'll give you a little snippet of my original Mad Max Fury Road review.
Mad Max Fury Road is directed by George Miller, who directed the other three Mad Max movies, and stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, and Nicholas Hoult. And especially about Max, he got arrested by these religious people that it held with his master, this Baelish bad guy. I'll call it Baelish bad guy because he looks a bit like Babe but with long hair. And he's actually the same guy who played the Toka in the first movie. And then he's now escaped with Charlize Theron, and there's hot-ass wives trying to save those wives and get them back to safety. So, what do I think of this movie? This movie is one of the best movies of 2015. It's an awesome movie. I love this movie. This movie just has a lot of cool action. No, boring stuff. It's just car chases and stuff. And I just really love this movie.
Yep. I find that very cringy. And you're probably wondering what t-shirt I am wearing in that review. That's actually the logo of my old drama school I went to. Yes, all these years, that mystery is solved. I don't think you guys give a shit. You just give a shit about my thoughts on the movie. So now, all these years later, and I'm reviewing Mad Max Fury Road again, and honestly, I am happy to talk about Mad Max Fury Road again, because seriously guys, Mad Max Fury Road is cinema. It is one of the best action films that I have seen in the last decade. And the thing is, back in 2015, we weren't expecting Mad Max Fury Road to be as great as it is. When we heard there's a new Mad Max movie for all these years and it's still going to be directed by George Miller, I feel like people are kind of mixed. Some people are excited, some people are optimistic. Does George Miller still have the charms that he has with the original Mad Max trilogy? And with me, when I heard there was a new Mad Max movie, I was just like, okay, I'm interested to see what's going to happen because I grew up with the original Mad Max, especially with the first movie. Although the second one is one of my favorite action movies of all time, the first movie I grew up with more. But I grew up with the Mad Max movies, and I was interested to see where the movie goes, even though I was kind of disappointed at Tom Hardy being casted as Max, not Mel Gibson, but that is back then when this masterpiece came out. We weren't expecting for Mad Max Fury Road to be as great as it is, and of course, the movie turned out to be one of the biggest surprises of the last decade. It became one of the best movies of all time in recent years. Mad Max Fury Road was mostly studied in film schools, including mine. We studied a lot from Mad Max Fury Road. So Mad Max Fury Road is basically an impact of movies. Basically, movies being what movies are all about. And here's the question here. Does Mad Max Fury Road hold up? First of all, whoever asked me that question, that is the dumbest question ever, because Mad Max Fury Road will always hold up. Because Mad Max Fury Road, seriously, is still one of the best action movies that came out in a very long time. Definitely in the last decade.
It is by my hand you arise from the ashes of this world.
We are not thieves. We are not thieves.
Where is she taking them?
I think the thing that made Mad Max Fury Road so great is George Miller. George frickin' Miller is 70 years old back then. And he's 79 years old and he still directed Furiosa. But back then, he was like in his 70s. And he directed better movies than most action movies that came out in the wild that then. The direction with Mad Max Fury Road is incredible, especially when it comes to the action, the practical effects, the car chases, even the filmmaking itself. It looks real. There is not a single CGI in that film. It is practical all the way. The cars are real. They're actually realistically made. And the designs of the vehicles are incredible in this movie still to this day. The car chases in the film is absolutely riveting, insane, crazy, and just a total blast. Like seriously, there's a freaking guy with a freaking guitar that bursts out flames and he's on a freaking vehicle. How's that not freaking awesome? You got stuff like that when you're saying, man, this cannot get better than this in the Mad Max series. Seriously, Mad Max Fury Road will always be my favorite in the series with The Road Warrior. I'm very tied with The Road Warrior. There are two different movies that I love from start to finish. Let's talk about the cast though. I feel like Tom Hardy as Max doesn't get as much credit because of course Furiosa is more of a standout, but Tom Hardy as Max is still great in this film. He's not trying to be Mel Gibson. He's trying to be his own interpretation of Max. And I think he does a really good job in this film from the silent areas and the words that he speaks out in this film, including, "She went under the wheels." They all feel important. It sort of took inspiration from The Road Warrior that Mel Gibson doesn't really say all that much in the movie and the words that he speaks out are important. Tom Hardy does the same here and I thought he is fantastic. But of course, Charlize Theron as Imperator Furiosa. This is the character that completely stole this movie from start to finish. You root for her character to get out of the situation she is in. She is taking these 5 wives to the Green Place away from Morton Joe, and you really feel for her situation. You feel for her and the wives in the film, who I think every single one of the wives in the film does a great performance in the film. But Charlize Theron, man, she is fantastic in this film. She is badass. She's really optimistic. But she also has a lot of heart to the film. You understand her motivation in the film. And I cannot wait to see how her motivation comes about in the Furiosa movie. I'm very curious to see Anya Taylor-Joy playing this role. But Charlize Theron, man, she completely nails it in this role. And it became one of her best performances, I would say, in her entire career. Nicholas Hoult is also really good in this film, of course, bringing some of the most iconic lines in movie history. What a day! What a lovely day! But you also understand his character's motives in the film. And, of course, Nicholas Hoult, man, like, he can play a simple character really, really well, but he can also play a berserk and insane character very, very well. After rewatching this movie, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like he's gonna nail it as Lex Luthor after watching this, because I can see Nicholas Hoult playing a maniac. I can really see that. Let's see how he does in Superman coming out next year. I'm really curious, because after Mad Max Fury Road, I'm starting to have faith for Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. But in general, Nicholas Hoult is great in the film. But of course, let's talk about, in my opinion, one of my favorite Mad Max villains of all time. Yes, I love the toy cutter in the first Mad Max. I love Lord Humongous. Tina Turner was fun. But man, Immortan Joe in this film, played by once again Hugh Keays-Byrne. Rest in peace, man. Now, if you don't know, he played the toe cutter in the first Mad Max movie. So basically, he plays 2 villain roles in 2 Mad Max movies. It's awesome. You know, I say like toe cutter's like the Joker in the Mad Max series. Lord Humongous in Mad Max 2 is like Bane. I would say Immortan Joe is like Darth Vader in the Mad Max series. He is so intimidating in this film. He's very menacing in this film. He has a really awesome design in this film. And even his voice, his intimidation, you feared for this villain. He is one of the most badass looking villains that I have seen in the Mad Max movies. And Immortan Joe is going to be in the prequel as well, of course by a different actor, because of course Hugh passed away and it's really tragic, because he brings out probably one of the best villains that I've seen in the last decade, and Immortan Joe still holds up as a really intimidating villain.
I want them back! They're my property!
Oh, what a day!
What a lovely day!
Want to get through this? Let's go!
I would say what's really impressive also about Mad Max Fury Road is the color schemes of this film. This film has a great sense of dry brown / yellow, and it looks incredible. Even the nighttime sequences, which is in fact filmed in the day and they filtered it to blue, I think it also works. It adds a uniqueness to the color schemes of Mad Max Fury Road. I remember we studied the color schemes of this movie, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting the way they did with colors in this film. But of course, Mad Max Fury Road is all about the car chases, the action sequences, and each chase scene is so freaking riveting from start to finish. There are so many great chases. All the chases are flawless, but of course, my favorite chase in the film is of course the storm chase. It is one of the most beautiful looking action scenes that I have ever seen, with the score in it. Like, the score in this movie is absolutely incredible in this movie. Every single note and tune, I was on board with that. But throughout the storm scene, it is one of my favorite uses of score in action scenes that I have seen in a very long time. Mad Max Fury Road's action is literally why I think movies can still be alive. Movies that feel like movies could still feel alive. From rewatching Mad Max Fury Road, I feel like I'm seeing a movie again that felt like a movie, and hopefully Furiosa Mad Max Saga feels like that. There's nothing really too much to say about Mad Max Fury Road that's already been said. Mad Max Fury Road overall is one of the best action movies of the last decade, and it's my favorite movie in the Mad Max series, with of course the Road Warrior. Mad Max Fury Road has some great characters. Tom Hardy is great. Charlize Theron is fantastic as Furiosa, and I cannot wait to see her story in the prequel from Nicholas Hoult, and Morton Joe being one of the most badass villains in the series. This film has so much heart, great action. The story was very riveting from start to finish, and George Miller, throughout all these years, he has still got it, and I hope he is still got it with Furiosa, and I cannot wait to see that movie, because man, Mad Max Fury Road, from rewatching the movie, it still holds up to this day.
As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy. Me or everyone else.
Guys, we are done with my Mad Max film series reviews leading up to Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. That review is coming very, very soon. I'm seeing it tomorrow in IMAX. I am so pumped for this movie. So guys, let me know in the comments below what is your favorite movie in the Mad Max series, and what do you guys think of Fury Road overall? Do you love this movie? Do you hate this movie? You thought it's okay? It's a matter of opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.